Welcome. In mass communication history, if you look at the development of news media, we will find a very interesting scenario. Films or other entertainment outlets doesn't attracted much attention from the authorities. Whereas whenever media, mass media venture into the news delivery platform, it got a lot of attention from the regulatory bodies to control that. When the newspaper came, then a lot of efforts taken from the government to control it. Not only government, even other social institutions also started controlling the news outlets. Particularly, they're concerned about the influence of newspaper on public opinion. Entertainment is very clear because that audience will consume that and they'll entertain their time, they'll pass their time, then they'll go back to their respective places. Whereas it has its own ramification, the film, entertainment, the content, that has a different thing, but it doesn't affects the larger the power structure directly. Indirectly might be. But whereas the news is a very crucial one, day-to-day affairs, day-to-day updates and opinions, columns and different standards, discussions about the latest development, it gives a lot of inputs to the society to think about that. And it might change the public opinion in favor or in against something. So that has a very influential newspaper. When the radio television came, they started giving a news that became much more powerful because of the presence of multimedia elements, visual, audio, text, combination of that creates a wonderful effect. So news already is a very powerful tool. When it's combined with a multimedia, it's become more powerful. So if you compare even today, there is not a level playing field between electronic media news outlets and print-based news outlets. So that is the historical dimension, because the news outlets are always under very strong scrutiny. And the last 2 decades, interestingly, that the technological development gave a significant changes in the news operation. So today's discussion, we are going to talk about how a common people like you and me can contribute news delivery through online platform. Citizen journalism, the characteristics of citizen journalism in digital age. That's a focus area of this discussion. And let me clarify first the what is the different keywords of this presentation. One is journalism, one is a citizen journalism, one is a digital age. So journalism is quite familiar with all of us. It's about news delivery and all. When we qualify citizen journalism, we need to understand it very clearly. Normally, the news operations are being controlled by professionals, news organizations, newspapers established by a group of capitalists with a newsroom, and there is a hierarchy of people, editor to the sub-editor, reporter, chief of bureau. There are a lot, the big team works in the newspaper or radio channel, news channel or television channels. They have a very standardized formula of accepting stories, rejecting the stories. They had to work within the framework of constitutions and self-regulations. And remember that news operations is a business and profit oriented. So they had to take care about the profit. They had to take care about the constitutional obligations. They had to take care about the business interest. So many, they have to play around between all these boundaries. So this is how typical news operation works in the professional manner in the mainstream media. When we have a new concept called citizen journalism, it doesn't require all this setup. We don't need a big newsroom. Small or big newsroom is not required, and we may not require a big investment to run journalistic practices in this effort, and 24/7 somebody can do that. And the citizen journalism, you can understand that it's a journalism done by common person, common people, citizens, common people. They are involved in the news operation, news delivery, giving opinion, giving interpretation, and sharing information live or updating information from the locality. So could be anything on that. So you can see the difference between the professional newsroom operation and citizen journalism practices. Here is a team works. Here maybe with maybe one person, maybe along with a couple of people, and works on different interest area, and mainly works in online platform, because running a citizen journalism with the print media again requires capital investment. Many citizen journalism may not have that one, and mostly citizen journalism focusing on very specific areas. They may not have variety. Maybe there is a maybe exemption on that. In general, it's like a you and me. If you want to talk about something through social media account, maybe we can write something about the area in which we are interested or in which we are affected. So mostly it's a reaction based or interest based in a citizen journalism. May not have a sports, may not have a business, international news or opinion, editorial. It's not like a structured format the way the news, typical mainstream media news operation works. Here is a different thing. If you look at the definition of characteristics of citizen journalism, it's defined as a practice of non-professional individuals. They are the one is collecting, the processing and delivering the news content. Similarly, digital age, the last couple of decades become a significant contributor to enhance the activities of citizen journalism, particularly the smartphone and the social media. These two are the major contributor of enhancing the quantum of work done by the citizen journalism. And primarily it's a kind of individualized news presentation, more personal in nature, mostly local in nature, because we are confined to our locality, right? We may not have authority, we may not have resources to talk about the issues across the. Of course, opinion can be given, but collecting news, updating a news, delivering a news in multiple platforms is possible if we have information in our hand. Mostly it's from our own locality. We'll do that. And mostly it's confined to our personal interest or the issue affected us. So these are the basic characteristics, we can say, the basic fundamental principles of citizen journalism. And mostly, and it's online based smartphone, since it's a handheld device, unlike the mainstream media where we need a big news, means a reporter has to go along with the photographer if it is a newspaper, and if it is a television, it's a small crew needs to go. But thanks to the mobile, now the mobile journalism help the reporter to manage all the operations themselves. And but they have their own set of rules. That's what they are doing, and they're a part of the bigger team. So they are not doing individual work. They are part of the team, and the team brings out the news output either in electronic format or in a print format. But whereas in citizen journalism is concerned, and here is mainly supported with a handheld. We are traveling or accidentally might be in a location where something unique things are happening. We might take some pictures. We might share some information about the area, which event or other materials we might have witnessed. So we might be sharing. It's how long it will take. So take a picture, and since most of the social media are app based, we don't have to go to the browser, log in, and create the content and share it. Not like that. It's just go to the mobile and take the picture. Or many of the mobile apps of social media allows to capture the video or audio directly and share it in. It's instantaneously, immediately it goes that personal and local. So these are the provisions of citizen journalism. And mainly remember that citizen journalist works outside the traditional newsroom structure. And mostly, if you look at the viral stories, news stories become very popular in social media platform. Many of them doesn't fit into the nominal newsroom operation of the mainstream media. Mainstream media, it has its own criteria. I told you that it's a business, it's a profit oriented, and it's a very powerful. Since powerful, all the powerful institutions, government, corporates, social institutions, always directly or indirectly control the news operations. So they have to work with a lot of limitations. Whereas in the citizen journalist, they have nothing to do with profit. And of course, if they're generating through social media, that's they're monetizing with the help of the popularity of the content. The people are visiting their, reading the content. All these matters. This is a different operation altogether. And mostly, the citizen journalist works outside the traditional newsroom setup. And since they are independent, they have a lot of liberty, freedom to cover many issues, and they don't have to worry about the many factors associated with the mainstream news part. So this is flexibility and more personal, local, and instantaneous because of smartphone and data connections. So these are some of the unique features of citizen journalism part. And not only that, since this is ICT based, digital media platform, individuals are contributing. So advantage is the mainstream media doesn't provide space for all the sections of the society. They can't do that. They have a limited time or limited space. So they have to give a priority, which is a priority. So very influential, powerful, impactful, newsworthiness. These are the factors through which the news are identified, they are being propagated. Whereas in the citizen journalism gives opportunity for all the individuals who are connected, have the resources to participate in the online platform, through which majority of the unrepresented communities, and they behave like a non-professional journalist to represent their own locality, community concerns, issues. It has a greater understand. They have much more greater understanding of the issues rather than the mainstream media professionals. So this is the one unique advantage of the citizen journalism part. And I told you that the mainstream media, they have certain rules. Mostly, the written news means they'll go by inverted pyramid, structured, formal, because this is their standardized formula of presenting information in a very objective manner. They are supposed to do that. Very objective, presenting only information, and the informations are presented in an inverted style. And because inverted style, because of the industry standards, because of the space and time constraints, and they give a lot of priority to important news. Within the news, they'll give a lot of priority to important data. Important information goes to the top, and least information that goes bottom. This is called inverted pyramid, and this is how news is being written by the journalist, edited, processed by a newsroom, and they put it in a public platform. And the news selection also, all together in the newspaper or television channels, the priority goes for important stories. And within the story, the priority goes for important data. So this is how they works. But whereas in the citizen journalism, here I can produce 10 videos in a day or hundreds of posts in a day. So no priority in the sense the constraint. There's no constraints about the time or space, and there's no constraints. So automatically doesn't affect the delivery platform. So more conversational, personal, local, instantaneous. So this is the another feature of citizen journalism, and it gives an opportunity for the others to participate, everyone to participate. Whoever got the access, they have an opportunity to participate. So it brings a multiple diversity community into the discussion forum. Normally, there's a criticism about the mainstream media is they lacks the diversity. They doesn't give priority space for all the viewpoints, or particularly marginalized viewpoints or secluded people. So this is a criteria, because since the news is business oriented, profit oriented, so they have to cater to the people who have the purchasing power. So they have to engage the people who have the power to buy something from the corporates. So it's kind of negotiation between audience, media, and corporates, audience, media, government, audience, media, and other social institutions. This is how that works. But in digital media, social media, in a citizen journalism part, these constraints are not visible, and majority of the citizen journalism works out of the interest, out of the concern, out of the curiosity, and wanted to do something for their community or whatever reason. It's all personal interest plays a crucial role behind the any venture of citizen journalism. This is a kind of new dimension to the citizen journalism part. And there is a criticism also. Criticism in the sense we have seen the only positive aspect. The negative aspect is there is some kind of issues with the accuracy and verification, and this is a problematic area in citizen journalism. Why we are saying mainstream media is very professional? Professional means they have set of rules, and the news is processed in that within the rules. One of the rule is objectivity. Because when we are going to the public, we have to give the reliable information, correct information, authenticate information, and where information is already verified by a couple of sources, government and other purpose. So before going to the public, they know that information is correct, and they'll take a lot of effort to verify the information they collected, particularly very sensitive information. There are 2-3 issues on that. One, this is their responsibility, newspaper or TV channels, the responsibility to give accurate information to society. Secondly, if they are not giving accurate information, their credibility goes down. I may not be able to trust them. You may not be able to trust the company A or media company B or C. If the media company lose the credibility, what happens, right? They'll lose the popularity. Popularity in the sense the circulation might be going down. Many people may not prefer. Similarly, may not go to the channel. So automatic TRP rating or viewership rating goes down, circulation goes down. If the TRP, circulation, viewership goes down, it affects the business. If it affects the business, the profit may not come. So it's a survival. For them to, the mainstream media to follow objectivities for survival purpose, they have to do it. Even if they are violating, if they are deviating from objectivity, and they can't do it openly. They have to do it in a different manner which is not visible to outside. Means they have a hidden agenda. There are a lot of agenda usually plays around in the newsroom operation. I told you about the newsroom's influential role in the society. So the lot of hidden agenda happens, but very, very difficult for common people as to pinpoint the hidden agenda. Very minutely, invisible manner, they'll carry out the hidden agenda through their newsroom operation, through whatever news they are delivering part. So it may not be visible at all in the mainstream media. So they have to be objective, and they have to be reliable, credibility, they have to maintain it. Then only they can keep on the loyalty factor of the audience. So that's directly linked with the profit. So this is the survival factor. Whereas it comes to the online based citizen journalism, they are not going to lose anything. If somebody is very popular celebrity is running a social media account, of course they are very concerned. The common people, if they are very much interested in certain issues, and mostly without much hidden agenda, they won't violate the any basic norms of journalism, and they may not do the course correction of information or manipulating the information. Normally they won't do it. But individuals are having certain agenda. They are venturing into citizen journalism with certain agenda, specific agenda. In order to achieve that agenda, the information has to be tailored according to the whoever doing the agenda, that has to fit into the agenda. So they have to do some course correction in order to keep their agenda focused and bring all the information towards the agenda. So some sort of compromise happens. So this is a major issue of citizen journalism, of issues of accuracy and verification, because of journalists may not have that training or may not have fact checking. This is a fundamental issues of proper professional training. But the issues of accuracy and efficacy, it has its own ramification. We will discuss it little later slides and all. And not only the issues, and secondly, the citizen journalism gave a tough competition with the mainstream media. And you might have noticed, if you are young or close to the younger age, and connected to the mobile and having your interest area in the news, if you look at your routine life, largely you are started relying on information news through mobile, particularly to social media. So this is the trend is happening in the recent past, and particularly in the developed countries, large sections of the youth moving away from print newspaper and television to the online specific social media platforms. And this is a trend happened a couple of years back in the developed countries, and slowly it's catching up in the developing countries. For example, if you take India's position, the print media, newspaper, magazine, other outlets, they are witnessing negative growth. The growth rate is going negative, and television is almost saturated. They are not witnessing the growth rate in a positive manner. Most likely, they might go towards the newspaper's trend of negative growth, and online is going tremendously that. So it indicates that there's a shift of audience from one form of mode of communication to another form mode of communication. This is a traditionally the normal typical situation of society. Thanks to the technological advancement, this shift is happening. Coupled with the shift, citizen journalism also playing a major role in giving tough competition to the traditional mainstream media newsroom operations. So now mainstream media have a multiple issues. One, they have to compete with their own competitors. Newspaper means other newspaper or television channels. Now they have to compete along with them with the other online platform. This is massive. And if it's a city-based newspaper, they have to compete with a couple of new competitors within the city or national level. Whereas online is a global venture, and audience could become from anywhere, and anyone can contribute from any point of time, from any geographical locations. So this is another biggest challenge, and the traditional power structure is being challenged through the citizen journalism, because there's no gatekeeper, because nobody is there to witness or scrutinize the news. Every individual is empowered to share the news, and amateur journalists, they have the capacity of creating a content, producing the content, particular news, and disseminating the news to the larger section of the society. So this is the biggest challenge on that. This is one aspect of citizen journalism. We discussed about the issues of accuracy and the fact checking, verification of information, and this is might be possible because the amateur journalist or citizen journalism doesn't have professional training of journalism practices to undertake the journalistic activities. There is another aspect of another negative aspect of citizen journalism is misinformation or disinformation. This is the kind of deliberate attempt. One, without having a training, there's a shortcoming of your journalistic experiences, different level. So it's a structural problem. Whereas here is a misinformation is a serious issue, a social problem. Here is a misinformation or disinformation happens, and it's a kind of consequences of citizen journalism, we can say it like that. Because individuals are empowered, they are empowered to deliver the content, produce the content, news, and disseminate the news. And individually they are doing based on the personal interest and mostly local, and they doesn't have appropriate training to package the news. This is the typical characteristics so far we discussed. There are good number of people, or maybe backed by some institutions, backed by some ideological stand, or maybe whatever the reasons. They are not a small number, big number of people available very actively. They are operating in an online platform, and they're deliberately spreading information, and they have the agenda. So they have very clear agenda. Their agenda is to deliver, convince other people towards their agenda. So this is the main information, and information is being tailored. They are correcting, manipulating, tailoring everything they are doing for sake of achieving their agenda. This is called misinformation. Misinformation, if you say that it's a false or misleading information that is spread intentionally or unintentionally, and that is this is the consequences of the invention of technology that gave one citizen journalism one output, empowered individuals, empowered communities, challenged the newsroom operations. The consequences is misinformation, and the internet has made it very easier for the misinformation to spread quickly, and misinformation can take many forms, fake news, propaganda, conspiracy theories, and hoaxes. There are a lot of other. You'll find plenty in the online platform. On every new event happens, being floated in a multiple level and in a huge quantity on that. But it has its own serious consequences. Means it's eroding the trust in institutions. It creates a division in the public opinion because people might be confused. They may not be able to understand which is correct, which is not correct. Traditional mainstream media are saying something else. Online major players are saying something else, and there's a viral trending and other bombarding of information on certain issues. That's also happening. There's a kind of issues. Sometimes even it create a physical harm because of the misleading and the false information thing part. But as I told you that the mainstream media, how we have cleverly they are concealing their hidden agenda. Similarly, the people who are with the motive of misinformation, misleading propaganda, they conceal their agenda very clearly. Very, very difficult to understand actually what they're trying to understand. But over the period, if you track it, you can easily understand. And many times you can understand easily, but normally they conceal their agenda part. So this is the cleverness of, because they want to make misinformation as real as possible, so many people may not doubt about that. They accept information as it is. So as it is means it's over the period of exposure to the misinformation part, so automatically our opinion, public opinion got changed, our opinion got changed. That's what they want. So opinion, if they change the opinion, so they have a support for their intended agenda. So that's the aim of misinformation part. And misinformation can be amplified by many technological tools that's being used, either algorithm or bots or automated accounts. The social media playing a major role in this platform. And not only that, and the technology can be customized for targeting misinformation for specific groups or communities, and they are vulnerable for false information, deliberately targeted to create a animosity, something like that. And very, very difficult to counteract the misinformation. Of course, government is taking a lot of effort, and data aggregators taking a lot of effort. Social media companies are taking a lot of efforts. Many efforts are happening, but this is part and parcel of human civilization. Bit difficult to control it. Only the base, like we got a virus means a vaccine, like similarly, and for misinformation, the vaccine is media literacy. And even after all the technological wherewithal with the corporates, they are not able to control the misinformation. Means you can understand the power of misinformation, how much influence they can do in a society. So rather than countering the misinformation, which is very difficult to detect, rather than controlling it, better we can adapt ourselves to identify the misinformation characteristics, and that can be done if we able to understand the medium very effectively and being a media literate. So that is a one way out for countering the misinformation part. So government effort is one level, and online companies, they are, whatever effort they're taking to tweaking the algorithm to control the misinformation is another level. And audience themselves, from our part, we need to have a better understanding about the medium, better understanding of the information, critical understanding of content, and should be able to participate in order to give our opinion. If you take a holistic approach, in that holistic approach, media literacy also plays a crucial role. It enhances the citizen journalism effort and activeness and influence in the society. Similarly, it can control the misinformation's consequences in the society. So media literacy, media literate person can can get a multiple benefits in being practicing very responsible citizenship. Thank you.